we're going to jump right in. It is June 26th, Monday, 1:30. Been busy all day, but this is a co-working stream. Read this. If you don't like it, go watch something else. It's going to be messy and ranty, just to warn you. So we left yesterday. I had a horrible day trying to make up for kubectl, and I am trying my hardest to maintain my health during all of this, but it's not working very well. Today, we're faced with a different challenge. Very simple question. What the hell are we logging into? When we use Kubernetes, we're doing this, right? When I do kubectl-login, what the hell am I logging into? Right? What even is that? And if you go look at all the context, what am I logging into? Am I logging into the context by name and inferring the auth info? Am I logging into the auth info? Am I logging into the cluster? Or am I logging into the namespace, right? So these are unique identifiers for the auth info, these otherwise known as users, otherwise known as credentials, right? So what's the problem here? This is the thing that we're logging into. And as you can see, you can have multiple auth infos per cluster, per name. However, you can't have the same here. So the first thing, I was actually playing around with this problem with my friend, and we were trying to think ahead as to how we were going to do klogin tab and what would come next, right? So there's already a bunch of problems with this. So for example, I don't know if you saw this, but klogin is actually completing using the kubectl stuff, which is wrong. It's totally wrong. That should only be completing for that. Another thing too, kubectl, right, logs, it doesn't even see my login as part of the completion. So completion is not working. It's just not working. It's not working. I mean, add it to the list of things that don't work at kubectl, right? So if I tab, and I'm supposed to be able to type, say it says plugin, right? So I can type plugin. Oh, okay, let's list all the plugins. All right, we have a kubeconf plugin, and we have a klogin plugin. But I can't tab complete to do that. I can't do that. I can't go kubectl-login. I just get logs. So it's really sad that kubectl doesn't allow me to control the completion of the command that I have. It's just another reason it's broken. You know, if they'd used Bonsai, they wouldn't have had that problem. But they didn't. They used Cobra. And Cobra is incapable of doing nested completion. It just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it. So what? So I have to type klogin, right? And then I get my login stuff as required. Yeah, right. P193. Actually, no, you wouldn't want to do it. That's not a thing. That would be cool if you could do that, though. Yeah, that would be so cool if you could actually do it. There's not a. I wish there was an RWX Rob SSHJK P1935. It would be funny if there was actually an RWX Rob domain. Is there? Somebody's having fun with me. Is there an RWX Rob domain? Nope, there's not. Oh well, that command won't work. So anyway, what I wanted to say was that we have a lot of things to consider. Thank you for the tray boost. Oh, you're welcome. Week 5, nice. Good day. Hi, Portia. So what I'm trying to say is this: among all the other contexts we have. So one of the things that we've been tempted to do is actually have a qualifier in the auth info that specifies what cluster the login is for. Because strictly speaking, this user column, that's what this is. These aren't users, right? These should be things that are specific users on specific clusters. Not more specifically, users in specific authentication realms, which might span multiple clusters in some environments. So you have to get kind of down and dirty when it comes up to this kind of thing. And so what I'm going to do here is if I were to do kconfig set credentials, right? Set credentials, which is user, even though I don't know why they did that, but, and we're going to say what name it is, right? So first of all, I want to see if we can actually make a new one, right? I want to see if we can make a new one. I want to see if we can make one that has a name in it. So we could say RBX Rob at dev. And then I want to see if I can pass the token, my bearer token. All right, does that even work? Apparently it does. So, but here's the problem, right? Because how do I log into that now? Right? What does that even do? If I do K, so if I were to do K login, what comes next, right? What comes there? Is that the name of the context? Is it the name of the auth info? What is it? Right? Now, initially, it seems like typing the name of the context is the right way to go, and then that'll infer the auth info based on the context. But strictly speaking, you're not logging into a context. You're logging into the auth info, right? But now I have to type this every time, and I can't even do a completion. I can't do a completion. Why can't I do a completion? Because there is nothing to complete, right? My plugin doesn't have completion built in, and so, and I don't even think you can build completion for your plugins. In fact, let's ask kubectl-login plugin. Wait, kubectl plugin tab completion. So if you want to add a plugin and have enable tab completion in kubectl and bash, that is not what we want. Nope. We want to say enable kubectl with plugins. All right, let's read the plugins page really quickly about this because I want to see if we can even get completion. Why? Because tab completion is going to make a drastic difference in what we end up naming the auth info and what we end up logging into. Because if indeed we can actually qualify, like I just did with the auth info, the user, and we have user at a specific authentication source, in this case it would match the cluster name, then we can actually use tab completion to great effect. We can say K, login space tab, and it would type out all of our completion options. But if we don't have that, we're gonna have to type that in every time. That's gonna be really annoying. So current context is nice and all, and that'll get us. Current context is always going to override everything else. So whatever the auth is in the current context would be the thing. But what about if we want to log into something else? How do we know what else to log into? So you're going to be out here in July? Nice. With your computer. That sudo rm-rf / won't do anything. It just proves you don't know anything about Linux to suggest that. And I put that in. Yeah, people who think they're good with Linux, they put that in there all the time. They have no idea that it doesn't work. Hasn't worked for more than 10 years. Extend kubectl by creating and installing kubectl plugins. This guy demonstrates how to install and write extensions for kubectl. We already know how to do plugins, right? A plugin is a standalone. It just has kubectl in the path. You can also discover this by putting it here. Install kubectl available with Crew. Crew is a plugin manager maintained by Kubernetes SIG CLI community. Interesting. Available via the Crew plugin or not audited for security. You should install third-party plugins at your own risk. Since there are arbitrary programs running on your machine. Probably not a good idea. Yes. So discovering plugins. kubectl provides a command kubectl plugin list. We've done all that. Any files are executable in your list to show up have kubectl dash in the front. Also be included for any valid plugins that overlap each other's name. You can also use Crew to discover and install kubectl plugins for community curated plugin index. We just read that. Limitations. Currently not possible to create plugins that override existing kubectl commands. For example, plugin version will cause a plugin to never be executed. Let's see. I got a subcommand. It is not possible to use plugins to add new subcommands to existing kubectl commands. Create foo by running a plugin, blah. Because, you know why? Because they didn't use Bonsai. They used Cobra, which is shit. kubectl plugins list shows warnings for any valid plugins that attempt to do this. Blah, 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 blah. You can write it in any programming language. There's no library. Okay. There. Yep. Additionally, the first argument that is passed to a plugin will always be the full path to the location where it was invoked. Well, yeah. $0 would equal kubectl in this example. Of course it would. It always does. Seen in the example below, the plugin determine the command path that will be implemented based on its file name. Every example plugin that wishes to invoke whether command blah 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 is invoked by the user. Blah blah blah. Flags and arguments handling. Wait, what? For example, a plugin that wishes to be invoked whenever the command kubectl foo baz is invoked by the user would have the file name kubernetes-foo baz. Interesting. Didn't know about that. That's new. So if you want subcommands, you can do that. You just have to make different plugins for each one. Flags and argument handling. Note, the plugin mechanism does not create any custom plugin-specific values or environment variables for plugin. Environment variables such as their namespace no longer happens. kubectl plugins must parse and validate all of the arguments passed to them using the command line runtime package for details in Go library. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. This builds upon the blah blah plugin from the scenario. If you run blah flag blah, plugin mechanism will first try to find a plugin with the longest possible name, which in this case would be blah. Upon finding a plugin, kubectl then treats the last dash separated value as an argument. Argument in this case attempts to find the next longest possible name. Upon having found a plugin with this name, then the community votes that plugin, passing all its arguments. This is so stupid. That should never do that. That is horrible. kubectl's plugin mechanism will first try to find the plugin with the longest possible name. If it can't find that, then it assumes these are actually arguments. Oh my god, it's so stupid. It's so confusing. Okay, fine. Whatever. I hate Kubernetes at this point. At this point, I detest it. I want out of it. The design decisions are there's so much bullshit. It's so bad. The entire infrastructure is just fucking horrible. Install your plugin by moving it to a directory. Fine. Following kubectl compatible plugins are available. Let's see. Install your plugin by moving it to a directory in your path. Okay, fine. As you can see, the plugin was found based on a kubectl command by a user. Blah, blah, blah. Names and dashes or underscores. Names with dashes and underscores. The plugin mechanism uses a dash to separate stuff that should be a separate plugin instead of actually dash. It is possible to create a plugin command containing dashes in its command line invocation by using underscore. So in order to use dashes, you have to put underscore instead, which will then be turned into dashes. Nice! My wife has fixed our iPads. That's great. I don't have time to talk about this right now, though.
I don't want to talk to you. I just.
All right. Yeah, good. Great gloating. Good job. She got it done. That means our 16 iPads are not wasted. By underscores in its file name. Example. Create a plugin containing underscore in its file name. Why the hell would you do that? This is so stupid. Oh my gosh, this is stupid. If you want to put a dash in your plugin name, you have to use an underscore in the file name because the dash is already taken to mean a subcommand. I give up. I give up. The people who made kubectl are fucking morons. They're fucking morons. Oh my god, it's so fucking bad. I just have no. Oh my god. Okay, we gotta laugh, people. We gotta stay happy. Oh my god, it's so bad. All right. Let's just move on. Let's move on. I have a plugin with a dash in my name, which is actually an underscore. Because that's a good design. Oh my god. That the introduction of underscores with the plugin file name does not prevent you from having commands like kubectl foo underscore bar. You can still use the underscore. Watch them have to put 2 underscores. The command from the above example can be invoked either with a dash or an underscore. What is this? We're making nim? Is that what we're doing? We're making nim so you can do whatever identifier you want, whoever gives a shit. And we just ignore uppercase, lowercase, dashes, and underscores. Just make them all the same. You can use whatever you want. Is that what this is? You can invoke your custom command with a dash. I have a plugin with a dash in my name. You can also invoke it with an underscore if you prefer underscores. Name conflicts and overshadowing. Somebody actually coded that. They thought it was a good idea to code. It's possible to have multiple plugins with the same file name, different locations through your path. Well, yeah, that's a no-brainer, just as long as it's in your path. And that was covered by the first statement. Plugins are in your path. The end. They didn't need to make further explanation of that. And the following kubectl-compatible plugins are available. Blah, 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 blah. Warning, this plugin is overshadowed by the other plugin. Oh, no. You better watch out for that. So, wow. Somebody wrote code to actually inspect the path by parsing the path list. In the above scenario, the warning under user local bin more plugins tells you that the plugin will never be executed. Instead, the executable that appears first in your path will always be found and executed. But what if it has underscores in it instead of dashes? I already know the answer to that. Don't answer that. A way to resolve this issue is to ensure the location of the plugin you wish is in kubectl always comes first in your path. Yeah, but that's just because you understand how paths work and you're not a moron. You don't need to explain that to people. They already should know how paths work. And then you say this. Plugins are just executables in the path that have kubectl dash in the name. The end. Don't need to document it further. See documentation on the path environment variable for further information. That's all you had to write. The invocation of the longest executable name. There's another kind of path overshadowing. Oh, damn. Yeah, here we go. This is exactly why this is a horrible fucking idea. Whoever put this in there should be shot. Metaphorically. There is another kind of overshadowing that can occur with plugin and file names. Given two plugins present in the user's path, kubectl-foo-bar, kubectl-foo-bar-baz, the kubectl plugin mechanism will always choose the longest possible path, which means that the longest possible path will overshadow the other possible path, which is why we had to write all this code to check about all the plugins that are being overshadowed because our original design sucked ass. Okay, so okay, I'm done. I got the information I need. I got the information I need. So far, nothing about the actual context information or the more important things. Why can't I use tab completion? Because you're totally fucking broken. I can't write tab completion. What if I want to be able to have people tab through the list of potential login names? Can't do it. In order for me to do that, I'd have to make a plugin for each entirely different context so that it would complete properly. I'd have to make a kubectl dash login dash whatever. I'd have to make a kubectl dash login dash whatever. And I'd have to have one plugin for logging into each system. And then I'd have to download all three plugins in order to install them all to log into any of those different systems. If I want to have just to get tab completion. I am going to lose my shit. I am going to lose it. Okay, for a given kubectl command, the plugin with the longest possible file name will always be preferred. There actually is something good that might come out of this, though. Plugin kubectl is executed. I actually think I might be able to work around a problem that we're having if we do this. It just means I'm going to have multiple binaries, actually. Plugin kubectl is executed with buzz as the first argument. Kubectl foo-bar buzz. Plugin blah is executed with buzz after the first argument. Design choice. This design choice ensures that plugin subcommands can be implemented across multiple files if needed. It's actually not needed, and that these subcommands can be nested under a parent plugin command. That is a horrible idea. It is a fucking horrible idea. Checking for plugin warnings. You can use the aforementioned kubectl list command to ensure that your plugin is visible. Do you have any idea what this means for administration? I mean, if you want to have multiple logins with different arguments, I have to make one plugin for each login context. It's visible to the kubectl and verify that there are no warnings preventing it from being called as a kubectl command. Kube plugin list. The following kubectl plugins are available. Kubectl foo, blah, blah, blah. Using the command line runtime package. If you're writing a plugin for kubectl and you're using Go, you can make use of the CLI runtime utility library. These libraries, no, you can't. No, you can't. I just tried it. These libraries help providers pass updated user config file for making REST requests. Blah blah blah. CLI. Oh wait. We might be onto something here. There's actually a CLI runtime you can embed in your plugin. Oh damn. Oh snap. Okay, hold the phone. That is exactly what we're looking for. If this works, then I will be very happy. Yes. GH repo clone. Oh damn. This is you know what? We might get argument parsing for free out of this. Okay, if this turns out to be true, all is forgiven. kubectl. If this turns out to be true, all is forgiven. All right, so clone. I still think it's a horrible design, but whatever. So CLI runtime. Please, I don't want this to destroy my faith in the world. It's not Kubernetes runtime. It's... Why isn't it checking? Oh. CLI runtime is apparently a thing. Look, it's using the Cobra library. kubectl complete. My plugin script would call back the executable file like this. Did you actually find that? Where did you find that? kubectl complete dash my plugin script. Oh my god. You found an issue on that very thing for completion. Did they use the runtime library? Did they use the runtime library? We're getting an education, you know, at great expense of our sanity. It's so bad, man. Set of helpers for creating kubectl commands. I had to get rid of that extra line because it drove me crazy. This library, oh my god, people do not know how to use Markdown. There are no compatibility guarantees for this repository. Sorry. Should I make a PR just to fix their shitty Markdown? How about that? They'll deny it. Things you should not do, capitalize not. Use anything from kubectl at all. Use Kubernetes at all. Hey, you know, you can't do this. This is illegal, right? God, how much? You can't do that. That's not valid. That's only get a flavor Markdown. That's probably why they did it. Yeah, also, they like backticked the first one, but not this one. Why the hell not? God, shit. All right, where does it come from? So it's synced from blah. Code changes. I don't even know why I'm changing it. It's not going to stick. Enable tab completion for kubectl and bash functions. No, that's just turning on. I'm pretty sure that's just turning on completion for the kubectl command itself, which I've done. That's easy. The problem is that it doesn't carry over to the plugins, as you saw, right? So if I do k-login tab, I get tab completion for kubectl. None of these are valid things. I can type help there, and that's wrong. It's just like wrong. It's fucking wrong. It's not even close. Plus, it doesn't allow me to do completion like I want to. Like, for example, I want to have all of my auth infos populate the completion. I want to go k-login tab, and get my auth infos. Can't do it because it's busted. Now, the reason I need to know if this is possible or not is to decide how complicated to make my auth info section, which, by the way, oh my God, it didn't even add it. Oh my God, it didn't even add it. It didn't even add it. Holy shit, we can't use @signs. Oh man, I got to tell my teammate right away about that. Oh my God, we are back to square one. K-config get users. It's not credentials. Look, I have a user here and I have a user here. Oh, I don't have a context to use it. Whew. Oh my God, I thought for a second I was gonna say, this is just me panicking too prematurely. Let's make dev. Let's make dev a set context dev set credential for some fucking reason. I'm telling you, completion is bork right now. Hey, see a Porsche credential. No wait. Context set. Is it user or credential? I can't remember. It's not auth info. That I don't know. Let's see. Set context user space. Tab. There we go. Okay, that worked. Good. See, that's what I want. See how it completed? I want that, but I want it for my login command. Because now when I do contexts, we get this. And the reason you need to have this is if you have two devs and you have You can't use the same. Let's say this is why this is important. Let's say you have two clusters and you have the same user account on both clusters, right? Unlike context listing here would suggest, you can't have an auth info named user this is why you have weird names here. You can't have a username here that's the same down here, because those two things, that's the unique identifier for the authentication info, which means that if you want to create an identifier for your auth info that actually has meaning, you're going to need to combine the user that was used with some form of identifier. And we toyed with the idea of actually putting the API import, just like an SSH thing here, which I think would be awesome. But the problem is completion, right? Who wants to type that shit? I mean, the whole point of doing k-login, they're using Cobra for plugin completion. Well, then they must be using the runtime library on top of that, because Cobra doesn't supply it by default, unless I think the runtime CLI project probably does do that. So this is, you see where I'm going with this? So there's two ways to do this, by the way. One of them is to allow the permanent use of shortcuts that match. This here matches a given cluster, right? And it is feasible that you would have auth info that authenticated against a realm versus one or more clusters. It is also feasible that you could authenticate against a single. You could actually make a magic word called all that would then authenticate, and then that token would be valid on multiple clusters using multiple client IDs in a single bearer token, which is totally doable. It's just not supported by ADFS and there's certain other tools out there. But that is 100% supported. So the reason auth info is its own thing is because this is not necessarily a cluster. You could auth against a major account and have that same authentication, that same user authentication authenticate against multiple clusters, technically speaking. But what you can't do is have them all have the same username, because the identifier, this is a unique identifier that goes in the stanza, in the user stanza within the YAML, the config file. So this is what we are proposing to do, and I am researching this right now. Because this is probably how we're going to go. And then the only difference with this is what happens if somebody else names what if I have another cluster and they name their cluster dev also, but it's actually a separate cluster, and they might have the same username. So the idea of multiple identically named clusters is not supported by this approach, which we've decided to throw out by saying, the cube, we reserve the use of the cluster names dev, inf, and prod within this kubectl context config, this kubectl, this kube config file. So the management of login information boils down to, most people will put just a single cluster in a single kube config file. But in our case, we're going to just extend that slightly and say, look, we reserve the right to use dev. But by doing this, this allows somebody to log in as multiple different users, potentially in the same namespace. Just so happens that each user has their own namespace, but they may be working on something for which there's a new JHub or something, Jupyter Hub, for which there's another namespace, and they want to log in as that user. They may want to log in as another user with less privileges in that same exact namespace or a different namespace. So the number of combinations here is very high, and the only way to get around that is to qualify the auth info somehow. If you just put dev here, you're making an implied assumption that you're getting the user information from someplace else. And that information is permanently lost after you log in. Hi. So we're proposing to use @ and so I'm about to check out and see if @'s going to blow up as a key, as a key name for which I know it absolutely won't, because I know the YAML file it's a value, and I know that this is a valued string value, so we're good to go there. And so this allows you to have RWX @dev, that's the cluster, right? But then we would have another user @dev. But the reason we have to put @dev in here is you can't just put RWX there, because if you put RWX drop, then the same information for prod would be different, right? So that's the only way to get around it. It does seem redundant. If you just put dev there, then that assumes that whatever user they're logging into need domain names. Oh, they do. We actually played with that idea. We played with the idea of having a domain name for the cluster. And actually, my favorite one so far, this is what I want to use, but I'm getting kind of shot down on it, is this. I want to use this. I want to use... so the other thing, too, is You see how our clusters are named? There's nothing that says your cluster has to be named dev, right? So this is what I personally would like to do, and I think it would be so awesome. I want to do this. I want to say that this cluster's name is... Wait, where's one that works better with? That's not one. I want to say that this cluster's name is the domain name. prod.home.rdvx.gg:8443. That's what I want. That's definitely what I want. Now the problem is, look at that. The cluster name doesn't appear that way. It doesn't. We'd have to update the context, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be awesome if you had that? Because if you follow that convention, right, and then you update your context appropriately, then anytime you have prod, let's actually just change the file. You're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So let's change the file. All the files that are using prod, let's say user prod, we say, not user, it'd say cluster prod. Cluster. I mean, wouldn't that just be awesome? Wouldn't that just be awesome? Because technically this means you can have multiple clusters on different ports. This would be the API port. So there's my cluster. That's the entry point to my cluster. And that this is a cert, by the way. This is also the domain name that's in the cert, in the CA. Have fully domain is in many times. Yeah. And then the auth info, the auth info then becomes kind of interesting though, right? Because what if you have multiple users on here? You can't just say I have a user that's on prod, right? You'd have to say some user at whatever. What environment I'm on, we named after the animatics. Really? That's so cool. So these are nicknames. That's what they're defined to be. Versus this, no one's going to use that, right? And it pushes everything out. But so, I mean, there's a lot of options here. We've decided that the cluster, we're just going to lock down dev, inf, and prod as cluster names. We're going to own those names. That means nobody else can name anything in that kube config, and no one else can name a cluster the same as our names, dev, inf, and prod. And if you want to do that, fine, go make your own kube config file and switch over to that, which is a common thing people do all the time. And then, but we still have to have the user at identifiers. Why? Because it's very, you have to write code to check for cluster name duplication. Or, yeah, absolutely, you have to if you don't do that. If you don't do that, you have to put a line in the sand that says our kube config file has 3 clusters potentially in it. And if you add any clusters to this, that's fine, but we reserve the right to add any clusters anytime we want. So be careful. Maybe you want to use your own kube config file, which is what you should do, actually. And the problem is, though, reserved names present problems, yes, but it makes it shorter and everything. But we still have to have the qualifier here, we're finding out. We're finding out that just having dev in here is not good enough. Why? Because you may very likely want to log in as 2 separate users having authenticated differently. And, if you don't have that, then we assume that you are the default user. In other words, what is your current username on the system? And that particular assumption is made by seeing if this username, if your namespace matches the current logged in user, either that or we right now we're making an assumption that if your effective user ID is the same as the namespace, then assume that so they don't have to type it in again. But if that's not true, right? If that's not true, right, we're going to probably change that to say if this name in the auth, if there's no auth info name, assume the current active username. If there is a name in the auth info, assume that is the name because it's there, right? And use it that way. So, and then we take the current context and we infer the name from this. We just look at the auth info and get the name. So I'm about to write this algorithm. I only have another hour before my meeting. But we're going to write an algorithm that goes through, let's finish reading the plugin thing. So actually we need to finish reading the plugin thing and the command line CLI. Here's why. Because I'm going to go restate. I do not want to cause people to have to type RWX Rob login like this. K login RWX Rob at dev. Can you imagine having to type that every time? Like every freaking time, right? So if we just say K login dev, well, what does that even mean? Right? So does that mean that we search through all of the auth infos and find the ones that say at dev and take the first user that matches based on the current active username? Probably. Does it mean that dev is referring to the context name and then we infer the auth info from the context name? Also an option, right? But if I want to do tab completion, then strictly speaking, I should be able to do that and hit tab and have it complete all of the auth infos that start with RWX. Now, to be fair, 99.9% of the people using this tool are only going to be logging into prod, and they're only going to be using one username. But the reason I'm being so pedantic about this and splitting hairs is because we are now moving into a multi-cluster, potentially cluster CTL managed environment where you may have any number of clusters that are supported at any given time, and we don't want to have to redeploy the kubectl plugin every time. We want them to be able to continue to use that plugin and their existing kubeconfig file and not have to make major changes to anything, right? We also, for DNS names, you can have different internal and external names and use the external as a carrier to help detect attacks. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to even get into the problem of what happens if there's no cluster that has that name. It just will break, by the way. So, for example, if I make, it just doesn't work. It'll log in, but it won't connect or anything. I can't even do it anyway because I'm not on the network. But the point being that, what do we use here? So I think that this is our safest bet to be able to provide different username qualifications for a single specific cluster, as long as we use these cluster nicknames. That does allow us to have dev default dev or dev application or something, and then the users have free reign over their context names. They can call them whatever they want, and then we don't have to squat. We don't have to squat on a name. We can squat on a cluster name, but not on a context name. And if they don't have a context installed, we by default we initialize it to match the auth info, and then we have. So if they don't have anything, then that's what we do, right? When we make a context for the first time, we take their current active user ID for their current logged in system. We make a auth info at whatever, kind of like this. And then we populate the cluster name with the same and a context name that matches the cluster. We're not going to put a context that's so-and-so at, because we want them to be able to use just the context switching really quickly using whatever tools they have to do the context switching, whether they want to use kubecontext or they want to use, K9S or use just plain old, kubeconfig set context, use context. So, so that is the thing. So I need to write out that algorithm, and we need to consider tab completion because, even if tab completion doesn't work, so klogin, the right thing for this to do when I type login would be tab. We want it to, if they're going to do actual completion, I want to show them the primary values for the completion, which would be auth infos. We would show them some RWX dev, home, some inf, prod. And if we use Cobra, potentially having a long form of that includes in parentheses an explanation of what that auth info is. So what that thing does, right? Another thing too with the kubectl-login command is that they may have, it's completely valid for them to have other auth infos in here that are not my auth infos. So we try to decide whether we want to permit other clusters to be in the kubeconfig file along with R3, or we want to banish them, right? And the kind of graceful way of dealing with that is if they have an auth info, when they hit tab, the only things that we complete on the tab are auth infos that we support. So that in this case, only this one would complete, this one, and this one. Those would be the only things that would complete. And then we have the question of, what do we do with that, right? So if we only have one kubectl-login plugin, if we have the problem, if somebody else wants to create a login plugin, they're going to have to create, now that we know they can, kubectl-login- whatever their cluster name is, right? And so then the command for them would be different. Their command would be klogin tab, and it would be klogin cluster info. Oh damn, it's like all my cluster info. Oh wait, I already took that over. So that's why that's in there. So yeah, if they did a tab, what would it be, right? Would it be the auth info here? But in my case, we specifically want to show that in this through tab completion that the only auth info supported are the ones that we support. If the user wants to put more stuff in there, then they need to use another plugin. They either need to use another plugin to log into those things, or they have to have configured additional credential information under the user section for those specific providers. So it's very possible that a developer or an admin could have added new context entries, including additional clusters, auth info, and namespaces for clusters and auth info, not namespace, for another cluster, right? So maybe they've added it by hand using kubectl config set whatever. Maybe they've added all that stuff. We don't want to mess that stuff up. In fact, if they were to spend a lot of time painstakingly going through that, and my kubectl login kind of idiotically blew away all of their changes because it said, no, sorry, you don't use this plugin unless you're going to stick with using, this file at this location in this way, and we're going to reserve these things. That would be horrible. That would be a horrible thing. That would get us on somebody's shit list. Now our users don't do that. So they're never going to hit that, but they might in the future. And the more this multi-cluster kind of situation happens, we're going to run into end users who are going to start adding more clusters. They're going to want to use our plugin, right? And we're probably going to want to add clusters to our plugin. So one plugin to rule them all that logs into different things. We may want to use that stupid, sub-plugin structures so that we can actually maintain binaries that allow, k login, and then tab, and we get like HPC or whatever, we want to log into, whatever our departments are and stuff like that. So that would be the way to do that. So I only have 30 minutes left. I'm going to read about the command line CLI library for this really quick. Using the command line CLI, I'm running out of my voice is going back because I've been talking like crazy. Too much, so I know, but all right. So where does it come from? CLI runtime is synced with blah. Things you should not do. Add API types this repo. Helpers not for types. Directly modify any files on a PKG. Expect compatibility. This repo is direct support of Kubernetes, and the API isn't yet stable enough for API guarantees. Why don't you put that in your kubectl? Bye, Brillen. Add any type that only makes sense for kubectl. It's like, hey, we don't promise anything. The end. I don't know what to say to that. Why is everything under PKG? I mean, I know why. Generic CLI. I don't even want to do this. I can already tell you. I'm going to... You're saying they're using Cobra. I'm going to trust you because I'm going to get really mad. I can just already tell... I don't want to go through any more Kubernetes source code. It's just not good for my health. I mean, already the package names are making me really disgusted. CIO options, generic CI options, CLI options. Builder flags. Of course, none of this is going to be documented anywhere. Yeah. I mean, in resource builders file with flags. Where's the doc on this? Where's the documentation for your non-API? Do you have any? What is it doing generating docs? Why is GoDoc unable to actually just draw the thing? Alright, fine, screw it. I'm going to go to the GitHub repo. And then people are going to say, why are you messing around with tab completion? I'm like, let's put a dash in the in the module name, but not a dash in the actual package name. Yeah. There's no compatibility guarantees ever. Screw you when it breaks. Ooh. What would it be under on GoDoc? I'm just going to go search. It should still be here. It should be here somewhere. Assuming I can get it to work. No docs. Where is it Golang? What is it? Docs.golang, whatever. I can't remember. Package, there it is. Go packages. This is it. Yeah. CLI runtime. Generic CLI options. Yes. Alright, so generic CLI options. Package contains flags that can be added to your command. Bound, completed, and produces useful helpers. Nice. Nothing in this package can depend on kubectl. Okay. Change cause record command header round tripper config flags. Okay. JSON path string flags, YAML print flags. Okay. REST client getter. Record flags, recorder, field selector. I wonder if this already parses the arguments. You know what I mean? What's up? I wonder if it does. I have a feeling it might actually, yeah. It's too bad Cobra wasn't better. I got a meeting at 3, so resource finder, test config flags. It doesn't look too bad. Constants, change cause annotation, change cause. I guess why something was changed. Variables, error, not empty configure. I actually am wondering if this already loads it. Oh my god. If this code already loads kubeconfig, I'm going to be pissed. It does. Yeah, I wrote that entire library for no reason. Actually, I'm still having the library because it dumps it. Yeah, it dumps the kubeconfig. Can you no, never mind. I was wondering if I could have done config kubectl-config-dump. And it said you can't shadow existing stuff with the plugin. That would have actually been really cool. That would have been cool because then I could have supplemented it with other stuff, but that doesn't let you do that. Variables. Yeah, this already reads all the variables. What I need to know is how do I get to it? Empty config, error empty config. Please point to existing complete config files. Yeah. I am strongly suspecting that this library replaces all of the stuff I did where I'm encapsulating kubectl, and it's not calling out to the command. It's actually doing the right thing. I don't know though, because this doesn't actually do any writes. All this is doing is reading data. This doesn't do any writes. Completes says template string, typesetter, allowed formats. This is good though. This is good. We're getting close to something good. The names are pretty reasonable. With wrap config function, config flags, new config flags. What I want to know is does it let them change them? Command command header round tripper. What does this do? Command header round tripper adds a layer around a standard round tripper to add request headers before delegation. Implements the ghost HTTP round tripper. Oh, yeah, we're not HTTP round tripping. No. So all of this stuff is really great for reading and completing CLI stuff. Oh, look at that. Raw kubeconfig loader. Are you fucking kidding me? They had it here the whole time. To raw kubeconfig binds config flag values to config overrides, returns an interactive client config if the password flag is enabled. Oh my god. It passes a client command client config. Instead of it's not a raw config though. Oh my god. Oh, it does pass the raw config. You can get the raw config out of it. Okay. So that's super interesting. That is super interesting. So that is super interesting. So this is the way to do a Go plugin. And the thing that needs to be clipped and needs to go in a video is if you're going to make a Go plugin, maybe you should read the documentation about how to make a Kubernetes plugin. No matter how shitty it is, you should still read it. Because check it. If I read about Kubernetes plugins, and by the way, nobody who ever wrote the plugin that I'm redoing right now ever read this document. Because the last version that I rewrote 2 years ago doesn't have any indication that this is right. Okay, so let's read it again in a nice happy way. Writing the plugins, you can write them in shell. You can name the plugin. Here's the problem. See, you can name them the dashes and underscores. Create a plugin. Names the dashes and underscores. We got that. You can name conflicts and overshadowing. So a copy of a plugin could exist in both here. It tells you it got shadowed. We already read that. Longest executable file name. Invocation of the longest executable. So if you have a kubectl blah, 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 it'll do the longest. Otherwise, it'll pass them as arguments to the last one. Okay. I want to read for sure that you can't take over existing commands already. I'm pretty sure you can't do that. Checking for plugin warnings. We're going to come back to this. This is the runtime package that we're going to use. Checking plugin warnings. The design ensures plugin subcommands are implemented across multiple files. The longest path will always be preferred, right? Where's the thing about shadowing? Okay, here we go. It's possible to have multiple plugins in the same file, different locations throughout your path. That's not it. What we want to know is reserved names. We want to know about reserved names. Where are they? I read them. This is the user. There we go. Using the command line, must parse and validate the arguments, pass them C, use it for details on the Go library and the plugin authors. Here are some additional cases where users invoke your plugin while invoking additional flags. If you run blah, upon the find the plugin treats as a dash separated, we did that. Where's the thing where it says you can't make it a conflict? It looks like it got taken out of the docs. Are they on the latest version? I think we are. First try to plug in the longest possible name. Okay. kubectl commands. Was found. Okay, names of dashes, underscores. Did that already. We laughed about that. There we go. It is possible with multiple plugins. We just read this. Okay. A way to resolve this issue is to ensure that the location of the plugin you wish to use with the kubectl will always come first. Longest executable file name. Did that. This design ensures subcommands are implicated across multiple files. Yeah, so we can do this, which is possible for login. Checking for plugin warnings. Command line runtime. I said that already. Where is this the note about conflicts? Yeah. This is not the same document that I was reading. No, it's totally different. Here's the one I was reading. And which is the same URL, yeah? No, docs task. This is a different document. Shit, as if it weren't confusing enough. This is a totally separate document. Yeah. Yeah. This is totally different than the other document. Oh my God. I got to make a collection of these. Read before making a kubectl plugin. I was like, what the hell? It's like virtually the same information twice, but without really important clarifications. God damn it. Come on, Rob. I can't type today. All right, so that ain't it. Whoopsie daisy. Add document. What is up with my typing today? We were also looking at are these the same? Why are they not the same? Am I just losing my shit? Yes, Rob. They're the same file. They're the same file, Rob. Oh my God. Okay, so in your path, don't use crew. Oh, here. This is what I was looking for. It's at the very top. It is currently not possible to create plugins that override existing kubectl commands. For example, creating kube version will cause the plugin to never execute. Due to this limitation, it is also not possible to use plugins to add subcommands. I was going to have config dump and then do that, so you can't do that. kubectl plugin list shows warnings for any valid plugins to do this. Okay, that's all. So that's it. So we're back to reading the runtime with a few minutes I have left. I have a half an hour, and we're going to read the runtime documentation for the generic CLI options extension. I've just confirmed that to rob kubeconfig loader actually is the supported way for a plugin to get the current kubeconfig stuff. Now, I almost can guarantee you that this source code is doing exactly what I figured out after 2 days of reading through the source code. And I feel stupid now because it was there the whole time and it was in the plugin documentation. So don't be me. Don't be me. When in doubt, read the documents. Where's the first place you should learn how to rank a Kubernetes plugin? The Kubernetes documentation website. Maybe you want to look at extending Kubernetes and read the plugin page first. Maybe. Maybe that's what you should do. Instead of like diving right into the source code of kubectl, complaining for a week about it, and then finding out that half the code you already wrote is already written. And then all the people that said, surely there's an easier way to do this, at least in that part, they were right. And the other part, they weren't. Yeah, so here we go. Config. You would never guess that to rob config loader under config flags. Look, this is a CLI library. This isn't a, hey, read the Kubernetes configuration. I would never have guessed to look in the plugin library to load a configuration pages, but oh well. And built a thing. Yeah, I learned it. We're still using it. We're still using it. There is still nothing that dumps that data, so my thing is still the fastest way to do it. It's actually using the same exact command as this. I'm going to prove it. Yep, here it is. To cube raw cube persistent config loader, right? I guarantee you that code is going to end. Yep, there it is. There it is. It's doing exactly what my code does in a much longer way. You want to see my code? Here it is. It's doing the same thing. That makes me feel better. It means I figured it out right. Yep. Here's my load function. See, this returns an API config object, and it calls new non-interactive deferred loader client, new raw config client loading rules, raw config, which is new default client config loading rules. So this grabbed the default loading rules, right? Use the standard defaults for this client command, deprecate or remove and replace with something more accurate. Oh, hey, look, the CLI runtime package people were like talking shit about the actual library that I have been. That makes me feel better. They're complaining too. Replace this with something else eventually. If kubeconfig is nil, loading rules explicit path. So basically, this tries to load everything, and if it fails, then it punts. And it says, okay, go grab the kubeconfig file at the default home directory location, which is exactly what I do. Actually, mine's better than that. Mine's more accurate. Holy shit. Mine's more accurate. Mine's more accurate because it does the config default loading rules. Deferred loading config client. Mine does the loading rules by default. See the loading rules right here? They don't load them. No. Look. Okay. Wait. No. New client config. Oh yes, they do. Okay. Never mind. Default. They're just doing it in multiple stages. Yeah. They're doing it in multiple stages. New default client config loading rules. Yeah. I'm doing the same thing. New default client loading rules. Okay. So they're doing it in separate stages. Loading rules. Default client config. And I'm not having an overrides at all. Cluster defaults. Why are they? That's interesting. They're taking cluster defaults. Where is that saved? There's cluster defaults that override the overrides, which is super interesting. And then they're doing raw config. I'm passing a raw config, but you get a raw config out of this. This has .raw config if you want. So if the cert file is nil, bind auth info flags values to overrides. Oh shit. Oh my god. Okay, this is worth it right here. So what this is doing is taking all that dash dash token or whatever, or OIDC auth info provider, and it's adding those flags to the overrides in the configuration file, and then when it writes, yeah. But the question is does it actually write to the file? I don't think it does. The biggest problem I have with this is that all it does is read the command line options. It doesn't give you options to write back to the files themselves. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does. That's what we really need to find that out, because I literally spent 8 hours yesterday encapsulating all the kubectl set whatevers to do the right thing, because it was the only reliable way to write to the configuration files safely. And if this generic CLI options actually provides a way to write to the config files, which would not be inferred by the package name, then we need to know that. That is really important, because that was definitely the standard way to do it. Bind cluster flags, API server. Yeah. Insecure. These are all the standard flags. Bind context flags, cluster. They said they were going to change this API at any time too, so I guess it's less likely to change. Safer than anything else. We only have an interactive prompt when a password is allowed. Client config new, non-interactive for loading client config password. Why? Oh. Are they doing username and password? See, this is weird. This makes me think that you could actually, if we did this, we could actually, F is a password, right? That means you could pass a password to log in on the command line if you did this. I don't want to support that, but you could. Because I think that is, what are these flag equivalents? That's what we have to look up. These are config flags. These are, anyway, so those are definitely seen. Again, we have to figure out if we can write with this. If we can't write with this, then it's useful, but it's not nearly as useful. We need to be able to commit this to the files. We have to be able to write it. To persistent discovery client. All right, let's go back to the API for a bit. To REST mapper. No. To config. Can you write a client config? This is raw client config, raw line. Maybe REST client command API config. Config access. Config access returns the rules of loading persistence. Loading and persisting. Simple CI plugin. Let's see how to create a new custom command to follow config settings and modify them. This does have modify them. Oh my god. I feel kind of stupid right now. I don't feel kind of stupid. I feel very fucking stupid. I here you guys get to see it in all its glory. Me being an idiot. You're telling me there's already a sample plugin that does everything I want to do. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad if that's true. CL queues for switching namespace that the current kubeconfig context points to. In order to remain as indestructible as possible, no existing contexts are modified. Go get it. This is the problem, is we want to be as indestructible as possible. But so far I haven't seen a safe way to write to the files. This particular example could fix perform basic operations is how to create a new custom config for kubectl, how to obtain a config settings and modify them, and to generate use of kubectl runtime. It makes use of the generic options to CLI runtime. This right here, knowing that one piece of thing would have saved me 16 hours of work. Yep. If I had known that one thing, it would have saved me 16 hours worth of work. So I should have done some more research. You know, note to everybody out there, don't trust the assumptions that were made by the developers of a project going into it. Question all of the base assumptions, because if I had properly questioned those base assumptions from the beginning when I rewrote this thing 2 years ago, I would have, instead of just porting what was already there, which is what I did, I would have said, why are we doing any of this? There's a plugin CLI runtime for this. And I would have implemented that back then. But because I didn't question the precedents for the development of the project, I got drug into maintaining and porting shitty old code that didn't even know about this stuff. And I don't fault them for not knowing. I mean, I've even existed back then. So the main moral of the story is here that if you want to keep your sanity, question when you're asked to do something, don't forget to ask, why are we doing this? Isn't there a better way? Because this is, if this turns out to work, I'm going to be really pissed. Now, it's still not going to do the transactional stuff that I was trying to do, but that's fine because I can like encapsulate that in my single functions that call two different calls outs to the right. What we really want to know is if they have transactional integrity for writes and changes to the config file, non-destructive, indestructive changes. Crap when getting handed off. Yes, that's exactly what happens. But then you can also get in trouble for like, because this is the way it goes, right? Someone says, just rewrite what's there already. We just need this is better. Need to support this thing. Just make a couple of changes. And you're like, okay. And you don't back up and say, well, why does this thing even exist? We should probably rewrite the whole thing from scratch. And I'm like, hell no, we don't have time for that. Yeah. So it makes use of the generic. I had no idea. Look, I'm going to say it again because as embarrassing as it is, it's really important that no one else make this mistake. If you're writing a plugin for kubectl, read the Kubernetes official documentation for the plugin creation. Do I need to say that again? Because the official documentation, as Mossy sent to me, about how to write a plugin says right here, if you're doing it in Go use this thing that has a sample which actually does everything you want to do with kubeconfig safely. I mean, that's what we're assuming. We haven't tested it yet. I hope it's true. And then you don't even have to... Now, if I had read that, I wouldn't have even had to read the source code of the other shit. I wouldn't have had to even look at it. I mean, that's not true. I would have had to look at config to know what the fields were. But still, you know what I mean? Go get our vendor this package as whatever. This particular example demonstrates how to perform basic operations. All right, let's look at it. The sample CLI plugin uses the client Go library to patch an existing kube config. Rather than current, let's see. We already read that. Purpose, how to build a kube config using the tools. Copy kube namespace, use local bin. Now you can bin using the plugin as a regular kubectl document. Okay. All right, let's look at the code. Sample CLI plugin. Are you winning, Rob? No, I'm not. I lost. I am losing today. Today is one of the biggest losses I've ever had. It is. This week has been one of the biggest losses of my life in tech, and it's all out there for everybody to watch. I have a feeling a few people were educated in the process, so I suppose that's not a complete loss. But, yeah. I mean, I hope it emphasizes why research and being able to get answers really quickly is so important. You can literally save 40, 50, 60 hours of work by doing the proper research up front. If you don't do the proper research, you end up writing a bunch of code that it's not relevant. And, which is what I end up doing. Kubernetes. But the good news is it's actually going to be correct for once. That's my meeting coming up. Getting a reminder. After this is done, literature use of Arrow, absolutely. The problem is we couldn't find any documentation on how to make a plugin because we were looking in the wrong fucking place. We were looking for documentation about the API for the config API, which had, minimal package documentation. But never once did we come across plugin creation documentation or a sample plugin. If we had come across that, a lot of these other questions would have been taken care of. So I tell you what's coming out of this, right? Don't get mega busy or whatever. I'm gonna make one video. It's like the right way to make a Kubernetes plugin. And it's going to be like 20, 30 minutes long, and we're going to make a basic plugin, and I'm going to put it out there for everybody to refer to, and I'll put a command in Twitch about it so you can go look at it. And we'll go for it that way. So, sample CLI plugin. This is actually, check it. It's this, wait, why does it have complete-ns in there? You have to make your own completion rules? Are you fucking kidding me? Please tell me we'd have to do that. Please tell me we don't have to make our own completion script. I really don't want to ship my plugin with a completion script. Oh my god. If we were completing a flag, use Cobra's built-in completion system. Please tell me this gets bundled into the thing. If not, I'm going to be so sad. I'm going to be sad, my friends. Oh my god, please, 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 people. Please. Yeah, this is Cobra. You gotta use shitty P-flag Cobra stuff. Can't get away from it. Yep, and they have to import package command. The PKG thing, I don't do that anymore. You don't have to do that, by the way. People do it unnecessarily. I don't necessarily like that they do that. New flag set. So they're just using P flags. They're not even using Cobra. They're using just the P flags. New command namespace. Generic options IO streams. Center out and give it all the streams and you execute it. Seriously, that's it? That's it. Interesting. And to do that though, you have to this is a Cobra thing, which unfortunately I have to fucking learn. I don't want to. I fucking hate Cobra, but I've got to learn it. I've got to learn it. So, because it's in everything, and so at least knowing how to get around its quirks. Cobra, Clangle Tools Command API, good. I'm using that too. It's using Cobra. It's using generic options. Okay, that's good. It's all stuff that I have in mind. So, namespace example. What is this? This is a documentation format. Oh my god. Okay, namespace options provides information required to update the current context on a user's kubeconfig. Config flags, resulting context API, context name user specified. Close string, big old long ass names that are unnecessary and stupid, but whatever. Raw config list namespaces, generic options IO streams. Is this a standard thing? New namespace option provides an instance of namespace option with defaults. So they made a constructor for their struct, okay. Config flags, generic options, new key like true. So they set them. New namespace command. New command namespace provides a Cobra command wrapper. So fucking disgusting. I fucking hate Cobra. I hate it. It's so bad. They could have done it a different way. There's so many different things they could have done better in the design. Streams Cobra command. I understand the completion is a lot smaller now. It doesn't take 32,000 lines to complete kubectl. It did. So Cobra namespace option streams. Okay, so that It's getting a new option, a new instance of the default options. Why are they doing this? New config flags equals true. Oh, that's why. Because they had to construct an instance of the config flag, so they couldn't just use zero values and the struct. Okay, they had to add constructor, like good Java people who now write Go. That's pretty much everybody on the Kubernetes project. So command equals cobra.go. This is standard Cobra. It looks a lot like Bonsai, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine was first. I did this first. Then they added this thing. So short, use namespace short. See there, they have run E. This is their action. This is their action object for Bonsai. Bonsai has the same thing. It has the same thing, except for we have way better values you can add. Lots of them. Yeah. Anyway, so you just have the namespaces, printf. So they made a new Cobra command. In my system, you can actually, Bonsai, you can make commands like this, and they can be nested, and their completion will work automatically because they know to call each other, and it propagates the tree by itself. Cobra has no concept of that and never can have a concept of that because it's been built all based on this idea of a single argument at the top. And so that's one of the reasons I want to dive into it, because if they have added it since then it might be worth looking at adding that kind of functionality. But based on the fact that you have to have multiple binaries with separate dash things just to get your subcontext in order to complete properly, because that's the way the plugin architecture is set up in Kubernetes, I doubt it. Because if Cobra supported that, they wouldn't do that. They would have you make a plugin up front that defined what its subcommands are with their proper path. But they don't do that. So there's no concept of this is the parent of this other thing. There's just like, you just have this one command and that's it. Which is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So this gets handed off. It hands off the Cobra command. This is its own. This is a self-identifier, and then the argument setter passes string. Anyway, so command flags boolean boulevard. Let's see, list. How much time is it? Somebody's opened up a bug on my other stuff that I just did, which is old. So if we true list all the bugs, complete sets all information required for updating the current context. Complete. Oh, so this is your file completion. Yeah, if you want completion, you have to have a method. In Bonsai, you have a method, or it will be inferred by its parameters, arguments, and children. But you can override that default behavior by setting a complete object. So a complete method, which is what this does. This sets a complete method, implements the interface, and so that's good. So we can actually set a complete to know how to do our thing. So here, this is completing the args. Config flags to raw cube config loader raw config. O.user specify namespaces. Get namespace. Cannot provide both a namespace value and a new namespace argument. Okay. How does it write it? That's what I want to know. This is just completion, so we don't give a shit about that. We want to go find out how to act. Wait, we passed it. We want to see how it gets written. So here it goes. Complete. If error complete. Error equals no return error. So try to complete it, try to validate it. See this? The fact that you have to run this instead of having it done by default. Yeah, that I don't like that. You have to like code all that. Every single action command you have has to have the same boilerplate. I don't have that in Bonsai. So run. So o.run, right? Well, what is run? What even is that? So, oh my God, this is a fucking closure. Oh my God. It's a closure. That's even worse. Oh my god. That is so... This run call is on an options. So options.run. It's not command.run. It's options.run. This is so fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm just going to complain. That's all I do. I know. Don't watch somebody else. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Why are we calling... Look, I get options.validate. I get options.complete. I don't get options.run. What the fuck? Run lists all available namespaces on a user's kube configurator. Okay, thank God that's not a Cobra thing. It's not. It's just shitty Kubernetes thing. It's not. It's not. They created a new namespace options object and they tagged it with a run object, a run method. There's got to be a run here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Yep. Okay, so, which by the way isn't anywhere near the struct that they created. Oh my god, this code is so bad. This code is so fucking bad. Oh wait, never mind. They made it that they did that because there's a constructor there. Okay, that's a constructor. New namespace options. So having run down below is not that's not too big a sin. That's fine. Run. Okay, so. I don't understand. Run lists all available namespaces. Got it. Okay. Length of user-specific namespaces. As greater than 0, then the resulting context is not equal nil. Set the namespace. Okay, that's what we want to see right there. Namespace sets it from context API. See? Oh! Ooh! Oh, never mind. For a second, I thought they actually had transactional integrity by using Golang context, but no, it's just the Kubernetes context. So, happy feeling gone. Happy feeling gone. Func set name. What is the thing that jumps to that definition? And what is it? I forgot. Oh, I think it's exclamation. Yeah, that's it. It's exclamation point. Did you guys know that? Watch. Want to see something? This is a Vim thing people don't know. It's a Vim thing people don't know. I'm going to show it to you. So if I'm looking in run, right? I'm looking down here looking in run. Where is it? Wait, I got to go. So I'm looking in run, right? And I want to find out, I want to search for all the occurrences of run in here. I can push star and it will find run. See that? And I don't have to type it to go search for it. I just have to push star. Any word you're on, if you type star in Vim in command mode, it will search for that word. Pretty cool, huh? So if I want to say, so here we have set namespace, right? So we actually want to do the part which says write namespace. So if I want to do this, so, and set namespace, there we go. Namespace, from context namespace. If the length from context namespace equals 0, context namespace, blah, blah, blah. Config access, comment, new default path options. What is that? That's a capital K. I don't understand why it does. This is interesting because this dynamically loads the path options at that time so that if they've changed during the execution of the command, they would be freshly loaded. That's kind of interesting. Am I the first time you discovered it? Yeah. Turn if we have already got a thing. I need to put that in the Vim tutorial. It's not in there. Existing resulting context exists. Raw config. It's not in the tutorial. Raw config context. Oh, damn. I got a meeting. I'll be right back. Here's some music. All right, meeting back. Done back for my meeting. Lots of new information. Unfortunately, this means that I'm going to be redoing my login plugin to use the sample plugin API here, which I'm going to do from my own thing as well. In fact, I'm tempted to modify the kubeconf plugin that I have already to wrap this particular plugin using the standard method. In fact, I think that's going to be the thing I'm going to do for the rest of the day, because there's no doubt. Let me just repeat. Do not make the mistake I made. If you're going to make a plugin, use the Go command line plugin runtime that exists already. Even though this load file is really awesome and everything, and it took me hours and hours and hours to figure out how to do that, it's unneeded because there's already an API that does all of this. So we're going to close all this up and we're going to restart. And we're going to go into kubeconf. I'm going to basically take my existing kubeconf, which just has these, all these sets and everything in it, and I'm going to port it to use the runtime. So we're going to open an issue here, add run2 to deps, close 16. We did that already. Document. The thing too is we actually aren't going to need to use that either. We're not going to need to use the run.go deps anymore because we're going to use the run CLI runtime, which does all the parsing for you using Cobra. Yeah. Close 14. I'm going to close some of these issues and redo it. Close 14. Add transactional safety updates. Don't need it because it's already built into the runtime API. Drop config escalation. Yeah, we did that. Clean up disk build stuff from migration to actions. Did that. And I think we almost got all the issues there. Add full test coverage for every possible multi-file. We don't need to do that. Because if we use the standard library, then who gives a shit? We're doing exactly what kubectl would do. So that takes care of a lot. Add tmux up in here. Git switch -c. What are we going to use? We're going to call it RDBX raw. Use, what do we call it? What do we call it? Use CLI runtime. All right, so the only issue left is use the official Kubernetes CLI.runtime module. Handles config options properly and includes reading and writing kube config in a manner consistent with kubectl behavior. Submit. All right, so we're gonna gut this thing. So honestly, the only thing we really want to do is we don't even need to call any of the sets or anything anymore. I'm pretty sure we don't need any of those. Del 19-C. What is that about? Is that going to make me one? Is it going to make me a new thing? Don't I have to be in a thing, Peter? I have to be back in main, right? Wow. I love this thing, man. I love it. That is fucking crazy. Issue develop. Is 19 my last issue? Yep. GH issue develop 19-C. Oopsie. I must have it in the wrong order. Oopsie. GH issue. Do I have an old one? I wonder if I have an old one. I have an old one. Yeah. 1.12. 2021. Mine's kind of old. I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually have to add it to the SkillStack server. Yeah, I'm going to see which one's the latest. I'm going to go check my other one. The one that's in the official boost. Yeah, I think actually the GH... let's see here. Podman PS. We have an Alpine still running? Damn. Podman. Do you have T-Mux still running? Okay. Podman. Start-A GH version. Oh, that's much better. Yeah. Does that have it? GH issue develop. It has it. Damn. Damn. I love that tool, man. I love that tool. Thank you, Mossy, so much for telling me about it. Oh, I know. I know. It just the GH tool by itself has destroyed my interest in any other source management. I am so sorry. I just have no patience. I actually tried to write my own for GitLab at one point using their API. It was horrible. So yeah. Update GH binary. Oh, I'm there. All right, so actually I need to get the latest. I think I might actually have it in my dot files. Scripts. No. Install. I want to install GH. Oh, I'm using Debian. I should probably just grab the binary. Let's try and see. That's why we do co-working, so we can get little tips like that. Debian's fine until you try to do anything on proprietary hardware. Hey, look at that. 620. So it's not that bad. I'm not that far behind. All right, so... Alrighty. Oh, damn. Oh, my damn. Oh, my damn. Oh, my damn. It takes the entire name of the issue. I mean, why not? Oh, my damn. Git switch. It doesn't say what number it's on, but that's fine. Fatal reference. Right. Git branch dash d rbx rob UCLI runtime. Yeah. Git branch. You can change the name using dash n. Really? I don't want to. I like it. Big ass prompt that takes the whole screen every time. Nobody on the stream's ever going to ask what I'm working on again. When you open a draft PR, it will be linked there too. Nice. No one's ever going to say, what are you working on? I have mixed feelings about long prompts like that take up the whole screen, but if you're a streamer, why not? You know? So I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for telling me about that, Peter. Thank you. I was missing out. I was totally missing out. All right. So we're going to gut this thing, as I said. So seriously, and when I say gut, we are going to gut it. I don't think we need to do any of these set commands using it anymore. The first one we're going to get rid of is load, which I don't think is needed anymore. Actually, we'll keep load, but we're going to encapsulate it by calling the other thing instead. So we're going to have that open. Kubernetes. Sim. I'm going to go look at the plugin sample. I'm only going to do this for an hour. I don't know what I'm going to stop. I have to stop overworking. So, I mean, this is the documentation, right? God, the names are horrible. Error, no context. Just like the new one. Information about the record update. I don't know why this person's taking an object-oriented approach to this. Yeah, they're putting run on this, and I really don't like that. I really don't like this approach. This is a very object-oriented approach to Go programming, and I don't like it. They make a new options object and give it a run method. So your options can be run. How stupid is that? I don't want to do that. Don't do it, Rob. Stop complaining. Okay. I don't think we should say new command space, new space up here. I'm just going to do load. Let's do fucking load. Provides a Cobra command wrapped by whatever. Well, personally, I don't like putting commands in the package namespace because they don't belong there. They really don't. That's just my take. I don't think they belong there. I really don't think they belong there. I think they should be under CMD. So I'm going to do something that I know not a lot of people do, but I really love. It's a practice that I like, and we'll call it a day. So we're going to make, I'm going to have to do a couple commands. So for this, we're kind of top-downing this thing. So in here, under the CMD directory, right? I don't know why people don't use this space. It's the absolute perfect package space for this kind of thing. And you have these top-level functions, which are not themselves commands. They're Cobra commands. They're encapsulations of this abstraction of a command that ultimately gets executed as a command. But they're not, strictly speaking, they're not actual binaries, right? Those binaries go under a command and then the name of the thing so you can generate one. But another really great place to put these kind of middle ground commands, which are not top-level functions. Top-level functions are the only thing that belong in the package, not these fucking named commands shit. This doesn't go in the package. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go in the package. It has no business being in the package, in my opinion. So, and also it lets you name it better, right? So my approach to this is to do this. We're going to say, I'm going to make a new command called config, kubeconfig, right? So we already have one of those, actually. We have the kubectl kubeconfig, right? And that's the actual binary name. But what we could do instead is do cmd/kubeconf, right? Dot. You could say kubeconf or kubecamp command if you want. There's already a command in the name, so it doesn't make any sense, right? So this is your higher level thing. Now the crazy thing is about this is you can actually do this and also have a subdirectory. So this is why it works really well. So you have a command in here, right? And this, we're going to make this is a part of the command package. Yeah. And that's what makes it so cool. So now we have a package that contains all of our sub-level commands. This is not a Cobra thing. This is just a thing. So then we can say you could actually have a generator. If you want a generator you create a folder inside CMD. No, you don't. You don't. No, because these are going to be packages, right? And they're going to only be used by other things. So you can say this. You can say func. It can have command dot new namespace. Let's do what is the command going to be called? Our command is called what are we calling our command? We're calling it's kubeconfig, right? Kubeconf config. So what does that actually do? That just dumps a config. It's a K. Yeah. I mean, that's just, anyway, the name is kind of matching the name, right? So that's a Cobra name. And that returns a Cobra command. Command. So that pulls it in. God, I feel so dirty pulling in Cobra. Oh, well. The reason we're pulling in Cobra is because the plugins already know the Cobra thing. And so you're kind of forced to use it if you're going to use a plugin. Do I like that? Hell no. But whatever. So then we need to actually make a command. Do this kind of thing to make a command. And Cobra Kai, oh my god. CMD, I actually write this kind of shit all the time in Bonsai. So Cobra.command. Yes. Who names their package Cobra, by the way? Have you seen the graphic? It's so like 10-year-old, so stupid. It's like what the biggest nerd in the class thinks is a cool name to make something, and that's stuck and everybody has to use it. I'm going to call it Cobra. That's like something like, I don't know, Mike Zuckerberg would name it. Use I mean, it has no usage. It's just, it is a command. What is that? Options? I don't want to give it flags. God, I hate it when people do that. Silence usage true. No. All right, then we need the run E. We need the run E for some reason. Stupid ass, but we're gonna do that. Return CMD. Actually, I can do this if I really want to. Yeah. Oh wait, what is this doing? Oh, this is embedding in namespace options. Yeah. We can still do that. Yep. Oh, wait, command flags Boolean var. This is why I don't like this. Because you have to do this to parse all the things. I really don't like that. You didn't. It's just a horrible design. You could have put it inside of here, but instead they made it so you have to call a fucking function to add a parameter to the thing. I hate it. So ugly. If you don't believe me, go look at Bonsai. It's so much prettier. Oh, it's disgusting. They could have used a reference. They didn't have to. They didn't have to have a function call there. This is so stupid. Whatever. I'm just gonna look at Bonsai just to say how much better mine is. You know what? You don't have to watch. Go watch somebody else. Seriously, if you don't want to see me. Karate Kid is awesome. Yeah, it was. Bonsai Go. I'm gonna write a Bonsai book, which hasn't started yet. It haven't written it yet. This is how you write a command. You combine the commands, and then these themselves are references. Yeah, it's really good. You'll like it. So, and then my commands just have to be This is how you get a command from me, because it's not a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep talking about this. I don't care what you think. Bonsai.go. That's like the main library. Configure. Vars. It can just completion. That's the accessibility things. And the things are actually, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. So you can actually compose everything together. No, I trash talk all the time. I'm trash talking because I just want to trash talk. Because I'm a horrible person. Yep. So personal bonsai commands. This is how I do it. Each one of these is an independent command that can be combined and composed together into a single, and I can use multi-call binary if you want. There's full support for that. Look at how pretty that is. Look at that. Look at how much prettier this is in this shitty bonsai than the other stuff. And here's the commands. This is how you incorporate the commands in order of precedence. Right? And you can create shortcuts. And the documentation supports full markdown sets with embeds. You can't do that shit. You can't do that shit in Cobra. It's so much better, man. I have to finish it. I have to finish it because I want to get at least one person to not use Cobra anymore. It's so much fucking better. All right, I'm done. Now back to Cobra. Where's the verse? What are you talking about? The arguments? You have to. That one doesn't have any. You have to go look at an individual command. That's what's so beautiful about it, is each one of the commands is its own package, and you import it, whether it be in a different file, a separate package, or a completely remote package. Each command can be imported. You can't do that with Cobra. You'll never be able to do it because the design is bullshit. It's been bullshit from the very beginning. Because you have to do shit like this. You have to like call a fucking function at runtime. At runtime, by the way. This shit didn't have to happen. They could have done this with composition and you wouldn't have all this extra runtime overhead. But they didn't do it right, and so now you have to do that. Look at all this shit that has to run at runtime. I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down. It's horrible. It's horrible fucking design. Horrible. All right, so, but I have to use it. I have to use it. So I have to learn it. So I can't just do this. I can't return a Cobra command. No, I have to actually. No, I have to return. I have to return it, but I have to like do shit with arguments at runtime. I hate that. So it's such a fucking horrible design. It's so fucking bad. I don't have anything else to say while I'm typing. Nothing. So I'm just gonna type. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Run Cobra command. I mean, look at the command arg. My command args are so much prettier. They are so much prettier than their shit. I'm done. If you look, go watch somebody else. I told you, go watch somebody else. Don't watch me. Go watch somebody else. If you don't like my rants, I'm trying. I'm the anti-streamer. I want you to watch other people. Don't watch me anymore. I defy you to watch somebody else. The return nil, I do. That's pretty standard, though. Don't tell me what to do. Here. I know. Hey, this is my code. I can write whatever the hell I want. So if you want to use the shit command, you can. that is my like that is my vengeance. I call whatever the fuck I want. Shit command. If you're using a shit command, don't get mad, get even. It just makes me so happy. I don't have to read Gopher ever again. I can just read shit every time. I know it's inappropriate. I'm not suitable for work. What else is new? All right, I'm going to add this other shit. Oh no, whatever will I do? Oh, reformat. If error equals 0 complete. This is so stupid. So they added their own completion library for the options. I guess you have to do that though. Yeah. I think you actually have to add a complete. Yes, I think you do. I think you have to the namespace options. Yeah, look. It's returning a namespace options type, and I have a feeling that that satisfies an interface that flag the flags. Yep, there it is. Oh no, I guess maybe not. What I'm trying to decide is why. Yep, because Vimgo. Yep, that was what I did. I forget to wipe. It's gross. Not as gross as me though. So namespace options. What I want to know is why does this have a complete on it? Complete sets the information required for updating the current context. Sets all information required for updating the current context. Is this an interface representation? Raw config, yeah, gets all the raw stuff. You know what? They didn't use the default loading rules, which I find very interesting. Oh, look at this. Config flags. Where is config flags coming from? Aha! I knew it was in there somewhere. So this particular example embeds a config flags in a struct. In order to do the completion. So config flags, grub-q config loader. This is yeah, this is a client config thing. Yeah, so this is the one we want. That's the integration layer. What I want to know is how do they do it for completion though? So they're grabbing the raw config. The raw config is an API.config object. I know that I already have one. O.user into specified namespace. Command flags get string namespace. Okay, so this is getting the -n or the -n. That's to get the variable for it. And then if length, I guess they're completing the namespace option. That must be what's going on. Yeah. If the length of the letter is greater than 0, either specified namespace is greater than 0. Can I supply both the namespace value and a new namespace argument? User specified namespace is equals arg0. Wait, they didn't do a match on it. Okay, that's fine. If the namespace argument flag was specified, then there is no need to generate a resulting context. This is totally different. This has nothing to do with tab completion. I don't think it does. It doesn't. No. No, this is making a new context, which is not at all what we want to do. No, this is making a new context. This is something completely different. The word complete is wrong. It's a total misnomer. I think what it does is it takes the namespace and then it populates the rest of the fields of the context from the namespace. But it doesn't do completion. It has nothing to do with tab completion. Yeah, that's why I came across this thing as I was looking for tab completion. Yeah, this is not it. This is not it. All right, well, that's good to know then. So, and the Z names. Yes. I think, anyway, this is not what we thought it was. Or is it? This is a perfect example of why object-oriented programming sucks ass. Because this has got some sort of side effects that are being applied to the internal state of the object that we have no insight into. So, and that have nothing to do with tab completion. But you would never know that because why would we pass in the C command into o.complete, right? So that is not tab completion. And this is all validating the current options. So what they're doing is they're doing this in a totally OO way. They're trying to subclass by embedding the client command, the runtime client stuff, into a sub options class, and then use that as the thing. So they're sticking this like data ball, which is essentially a big ass map, and they're giving it methods as opposed to writing functions that operate on the data. And I can't tell you how fucked up that is. That's like really fucked up. I am not doing it that way, which means I am not using their example unless I have to. I'm going to do it in a much more functional way. This is, not to mention, this is all an embed. In their code, they have it as it's an embedded closure, which is so screwed up. I mean, I'm not against closures, but my God, there's no need for that. So this is validating the options, and then they're actually running the thing to make it change the options. O.validate, O.complete. No, that shouldn't be in here like that. So that's why it's so confusing. Yeah. How are you doing? So what we really want to do here. So first of all, what we're doing, what are we trying to do here? All we really want to do is dump the current cube config. That is it. So we can actually do that. The question is, we have to actually do it and resolve. We have to do it in a way that resolves the overrides. So we're gonna learn from how they do it to do that. That's all. So they're grabbing the raw config context. No, we don't need that. We need to do this right here. There we go. Cube config flags, raw config flags, right? So, and their config flags are passed in. That's the embed. That's what we want right there. Generic CLI options config flags. That's what we want. That is all we want. Yeah. That's actually all we want. So, is that embedded? Nope. And we can put that in the function actually. Because, yeah, we can embed it. I'm just going to say CF. People can think of it as whatever they want. And that's going to equal generic CLI option config flags. We have to figure out how to get those. Those are passed to this thing here, new namespace options streams. And so then it makes a new one. And then this initializes it. There we go. That's what we want. Generic CLI options new config flags equals true. Somebody thought that was a good name. Yeah. It's kind of cute. I am so glad I'm not officially a developer. I would have to work with people that think that that's a good way to name things. I'd be fighting constantly. This is why I'm not a developer. I mean, I can do development. I've done it lots. I just don't want to do it. Generic CLI options, new config flags. There you go. In all its glory. They need to read the document from Rob Pike on appropriate package naming conventions. Yeah. I don't think names should describe what things do. It should be no, they should be easier to read. You should not replace comments with big ass long names. That is stupid as hell. It's stupid as fuck to do that. It's stupid. It makes your code completely unreadable and unusable because you have to reuse that huge fucking symbol every time. And if you go back in the day as well. What's that? Yeah. Java developers leaving the chat. C++ developers leaving the chat. Good fucking riddance. I mean, this actually not even, yeah. I'm just going to do CLI. Yep. Much easier to read. Say that to Mr. Rob Martin. Bob Martin can suck my dick. Actually, I don't want him to suck my dick. I get a disease from his mouth. Uncle Bob Martin is one of the biggest fucking idiots on the entire internet and in all of academia combined into one. I'm sorry there, I slandered Bob Martin. Oh, no. He's such an asshole. He's a misogynistic prick on top of not knowing what the fuck he's talking about ever. If you want to actually listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, listen to Jim Copeland. Listen to Jim Copeland. Go watch the debate between Jim Copeland and Uncle Bob fucking Martin. All right? And then we can have a debate. Jim actually knows what he's talking about most of the time. I love Jim Copeland. I really do. I love him. He's just so funny to watch, and he's so right. He's just so right on everything. There we go. CF equals CLI new config flags. Bob Martin hasn't written a line of code that's in production ever. He just sits there. You should do this. This is what you should do. Pay me money. Come to my classes. Do this. I've never written any enterprise code ever. But everybody cites me and says they should do what I say because I say that's the way they should do it. Why don't you get a fucking job, Bob? Like an actual job where you write code for a living. Copeland. Coplein. Yeah, go watch him take down object-oriented programming. When he pins a guy to the wall. He says, how many of you write object-oriented programming code? Has everybody... It's so funny. He doesn't raise their hand. There's like all these people raise their hand. I do. And he's like, fine. And he picks out a victim. It's like... Copeland. I said Copeland. I don't know if that's... Is it I don't think it's Copeland. I think it's Coplein, I think. Do I need to find it for you? I will do that. Because he's awesome. He actually commented on one of my videos. He goes, "You're doing a pretty good Cope impression." He's egotistical, just like all of them. I mean, he's an academic. There you go. Watch this thing. Oh my God, this is so funny. The dehumanization of objects. This has got to be one of the best videos I have ever seen. And it's so hilarious. He totally pegs this Java programmer to the wall. And he screams in his face. He's like shaking. He has to get himself down. He's like, Java is the only language you cannot write object-oriented programming in. It's impossible to write true object-oriented programming in Java. And then he proceeds to perfectly justify that statement by citing the original creation of object-oriented programming. He said the best you can do is write class-based programming. It's not object-oriented programming. And then he says, how many of you write JavaScript? I kid you not. How many of you write JavaScript? And he goes, you write JavaScript right. You can actually do this. You can write actual object-oriented programming. The same thing that the class-based Java fucking Nazis are always on top of JavaScript people for monkey patching and dynamic changes to object formats and stuff like that. All that dynamic object creation, dynamic method creation and deprecating and reassigning, giving a different method to an object at runtime. Oh my God. All of those kind of things that are like really shat upon in the JavaScript world are core to being able to change the model according to the behavior at runtime. And Copeland says that's the way original object-oriented programming was supposed to be. And Java can't do that because you have to define everything in advance, including the interfaces. Thank God you don't have to do that with Go. You can just tack an interface on or method on and add an interface for that later if you want. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So hopefully somebody will go watch that. I am burning up all my time ranting because it's the end of the day. I'm kind of hungry. Okay. And I'm writing, shit. All right, so CLI new config flags. This is really where the only really thing I care about here is I want to get it to print its thing. Yeah, and we're gonna actually do a as JSON. We're gonna run as JSON, print as JSON, print as JSON. The CF dot. We need to go get something. We need to get the raw object out of this. Yeah, we're going to have to go get the raw object out of this. Run, we're going to do RxRob run. Look, there's so many people hate me, and that's okay. If you want to hate me and you go away or you don't agree with me, that's fine. I don't hate you. I might call you an idiot or a moron or something. I don't really mean it. I don't really mean it. Except for Uncle Bob. He's a fucking prick. He is. He's a prick. He's one of these old school boomer misogynistic assholes who abuses women and at the same time tells everybody else what to do without actually doing shit. And those are the kind of people that I will call out every fucking time. If somebody calls me out too, they can call me out too. He's the guy who just rants for 8 hours a day and writes code that he didn't need to write and finds out after 2 weeks. And then he could have done the whole thing in like 4 lines of code if he had just done a little bit more research. Does that describe me? Yes. But I own it. That's the difference. I don't try to be some fucking authority to tell everybody what to do, unless I do. I tell you what I think, and I tell you you're an idiot if you don't do it. But I should stop talking. Okay, GitHub RWXRob. This is why I don't stream and code, because I can't think while I do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not. I am legitimately not good enough to do the two at the same time. I get distracted by my own thoughts and blabbing mouth. Kubectl flags, 2 raw kubectl loader raw config. Yes, baby, that's what we want there. That's the goodness we want right there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hell, I think I can put this all in one line. I'm not going to, but I could. Yep. Yeah, I could. Oh my God. It can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. What does raw config return? What does it return? Raw config returns the API and a configurator, okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's say column fair. Yep. CLI.new config flags to raw. Print as JSON. If error is not equal nil, return error. Otherwise, return nil. Return print as JSON. Is this a print as JSON conf? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. All right. I can switch to front end and back end. Developers and go. Finding a back end job, junior position. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just start writing code. That's the best thing I can tell you. Start writing code. Start writing REST APIs for things that you care about. And skip the GraphQL shit. Yeah. Make a microservice in Kubernetes. You got you started? What does that mean? You start writing code? Nice. Yep. I mean, it'll eventually catch up. You'll get good. I think. And what have I been changing this whole time? Oh, right. I've been changing cube. Wait. CMD directory. Cube conf.go. Go like basic auth with JWT. Yeah. The best way is to make things that you can show that you like to talk about. My opinion. Oh, God damn it. Do. God, look at all that shit coming in. All those dependencies. Customized KYAML. We're going to use customized KYAML, so there wasn't enough libraries to do YAML. Time to look at this. Charcoal. Going authentication. Is that something you're doing? I don't review code. I just complain. Look at they're using Go. Look at they're using Go internal too. Everybody uses it. I guess it's good to use it then. Look at that. Look at all that shit I had to pull in to use the official library. Yeah. Go test. There's nothing here to test really. I assume it's pulling down stuff. Yeah. It is. It's trying to get all those things. Come on, baby. There we go. Undefined run presentation. Go get a.com or x rob run dash go. Kubeconf. Run. Undefined run is print JSON. Is it under? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? I could probably just copy that out. Yeah. Maybe I didn't put it in here. Oh, I didn't. It's util. It's a util. I totally forgot. Yeah. It's a conf util. Yeah. It's a util. kubectl. Internal. Util. How about we just copy that? How about we copy that to internal? How about that? Should I put it in package? Should I put it in PKG? Make everybody type PKG from now on? The only reason people do that is because they blow away their root level with code of conduct and license and this other document and this other useless thing and this other useless thing. It's the only reason they do that. God. What? I'm okay. How are you, Chillaxlor? It's been a while. No, my run go. No, it does that. Strangely, it'll resolve run. It's the package name. Anyway, okay. What does the team think? What do you guys think? Should I make a PKG for this and force everybody to type PKG in their installs from that point on? I don't want to do that. It's one of my biggest annoyances when people go, look. Let me show you. Look at this go.mod file. How many of these have PKG in the name? None. Right? None. Some of them have .go. But unfortunately, there's one. PKG errors because it's the top level. Right? Nobody wants a big ass name with a PKG in it. Oh, this is interesting. So that is the shortened domain for that. Yeah. That's interesting. So, ooh, you know what? Actually, I think I'm doing it wrong. What else is new? So, what I'm saying here is that this is importing. Oh no, never mind. It's storing CLI runtime. No, it definitely is. Look at it. It is under PKG. Can I get rid of dropping PKG without it dying? Probably not. Oh damn. Wait, what? Does it resolve PKG automatically now? That is new. It never used to do that. Please tell me that's true. Yeah. A lot of Go projects. Okay, so there's no standard, right? There's what people do. People generally will put compiled commands that are going to be installed under CMD, and in order to get a command name, they have to put that into a subdirectory. That's how Go works, right? They put a main.go inside of a subdirectory, and that gets compiled, and then that becomes kubectl-config as a binary. And in my case, it auto installs in my path and becomes a k kubeconfig, so I can type it like that, and I can get this beautiful JQ output, right? That is the source of truth for everything that comes out of kubeconfig. All right, so that's what it is. However, I believe that you can actually also, at the mid layer between here and here, you can put Cobra and Bonsai and top level commands, package-based commands that do not actually end up as executables, but they are essential to the stuff down here. So this thing down here is going to use this thing, and that way it can use cmd.new command or new whatever, and then that can use it. That's my personal take. And then there's another directory called pkg, which people have been using for so long to put other Go package code into, so that's where the code gets used, and inside of that usually have an internal or something. If you have internal, it can't be imported. And that is the standard. What drives me crazy about that non-standard standard is that anytime you follow that PKG thing, you're forcing people to use PKG in their imports, which is fucking annoying. And so that's why I was looking through here, right? To see, and then I noticed that the client CLI library, which is the CLI runtime library right here, is using the package name. So the GitHub is not the package authoritative package name. It's just a copy of the source code, right? It's just so you can get it off GitHub. But this here, that's actually the authoritative package name. So if you're going to import it, that's what you need to do, right? So then my follow-up question to that is this: if I'm using that, can I get away without using the PKG? And it seems that I can, actually. Between PKG and internal. Internal is blocked. PKG has no significance to anything. Internal does. If you ever put internal in a directory name, it permanently blocks anything from that package and sub packages of internal from ever being imported by any other module ever. The only thing that can import it is that specific Go module. You can have hundreds of packages in that module that can see internal, but nothing outside of that module can see internal. It's not documented very well, put it that way. But so that's the difference. PKG, on the other hand, is public. The problem is that it forces everybody to type PKG. And the reason I'm curious is because I fucking hate typing PKG to import everything. But I just saw a case where you didn't have to do that, and so I'm testing it. So right now, it appears I didn't have to type PKG, and it got it. So if that's true, then that means the Go toolchain has been updated to look in PKG to resolve module names. And see this right here? See how this is CLI, right? See how it says generic? That's actually in PKG runtime. That's where it really lives, right? But there's a possibility that this is going to work. But this isn't throwing an error, and I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. There goes the error. There it goes. No, you can't get it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but that did not work. So you got to do this. So that is why I ranted. Because the rant comes from... Personally, I don't think a publicly exported package should ever put anything in PKG. Ever. That's my opinion. PKG is more for a super big project in which it's going to have binaries or something else is going to come out of it, and it's not based for public consumption. You don't want those libraries to be used, right? So that PKG directory is kind of like, hey, we're going to... personally, I think under PKG, almost everything should be internal, personally. Yeah. So I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of that, right? I'm not a fan of that. And why did I even say anything? Because I'm on kind of the fence about whether I should actually give in and put my 2 files in a PKG. If I were going to do this, is what I do. PKG, and I would move all of the doc files. I would move these files into PKG. So this is why people would do this, right? See how pretty it is? You have to have a Go mod and a sum at the top level. That just has to be there. It won't work. You don't want to know the structure of the library, and PKG serves as a way to organize code base. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to know the structure of the library and the PKG. Yeah. This is a code base organization technique, and I honestly, the only justification I can see for people doing this is like the library we're looking at right here. Look, I mean, this is a fucking sample. There's no reason to do it. It's because you get contributing, license, readme, owner, security context, code of conduct, and, some bash code and some script and some build code, right? And by the time you get like a dozen different random files in there, you can't even see where the actual code is. And so they have decided to put everything under PKG and CMD. And CMD makes sense because nobody ever has to type that unless they're building. Unless they're importing your binary or they're importing something, in which case you should probably have it be distinguished. But this makes every single person who ever uses your library anywhere on the import line type PKG into it, and I don't like it. Never have. And neither does most of the rest of the world. If I'm just going to say, if you look at, I don't have to convince you of this. I just have to show you what everybody on Go Planet Earth does. Here you go, right here. Source and test folder. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So this is what people do. Now, you'll find a lot of people don't even put Go in the name. And that's actually something that I agree with SPF. So Steve Frontier, the guy who did Cobra and Viper, who I make fun of his stuff all the time, he's actually a really great human being. I'm not attacking him ever. He's a fantastic human being. Um, but and I've been following his career journey for a while. Actually, he's the senior evangelist for Go over at Google these days. And he was at all the. It's funny because he's worked at all the companies I kind of dreamed of working at. He worked at I don't know him. I've never met him, but he worked at DigitalOcean for a while. He was doing Go way back in 2013. That's why it's such a big deal. Anyway, so, but see what he does? He knows that his package is only going to be in Go. Nobody gives a shit. He's only going to write in Go, and he's like leveraging the fact that he's only going to be writing Go. And so he makes packages that are very minimal in name. And I tend to do the same thing. If you look, I chose to do that same thing. If you go look at my Awesome Go project, that I've decided to take Go out of the name, and I kind of violated my own rule when I did run.go, because I thought, well, this is the way my mind goes. Every time I get rid of it, I always think to myself, well, what if I wrote the same exact code to work in Node or TypeScript or Rust or C or anything like that, right? Would it be run-c? Would it be run-js? Would it be run-whatever, right? And I always give in on that. I do. I know, and that's what I go back and forth all the time. So the package is run. This is a definitive name. Is the package name, right? That's not the module name. It took me like a year to figure that out. That the GitHub name is not the actual reference. It will go get it in the import state. The import statement is the GitHub name, right? But the actual package name will be whatever the name is. In fact, Vimgo will actually pull it out of there and put it in there for you if it's significantly different. If it's -go or it's go-, it doesn't do it. Vimgo doesn't do it if it's go-. No. So that's why you're seeing what you're seeing here, because kubectl. So that's why this didn't change. Technically, this is correct, right? But Vimgo, if it's -go or it's go-run, it doesn't do that. It only does that if you got really big naming differences between the two, and then it'll pull out and it'll make you an automatic shortcut. A lot of people are like, I don't give a shit about the name. You could just make a shortcut anytime. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I do kind of wish I had done this instead now. Yeah. That kind of change, by the way, is a huge breaking change. It's a massive breaking change. So, and if you use any version of 1.0 in your tagging, you have to put v2. That's required by the Go package system. So, because Cobra is shit. Yeah, I fucking hate it. I think Cobra is shit, and I have made my own alternative, which is way better. But I have to use Cobra, so it just made me happy. I hope there's a way to alias single mod. No, there's not. Don't try it. There's not. This is it. If you try it, look, there's a thing called replace, and clever people have tried to use replace to use vanity URLs and package names and stuff like that. It will break your Go installs, which will fail because you have replace lines which have been deprecated. Don't do it, I'm telling you. In fact, I noticed the customized project got rid of them. They were hamstrung for a long time because they used so many of them to fix all these other problems, and they got around it. Super proud of them for doing that. I went back to go make fun of them, and it was all fixed. I was like, damn, good job. They closed my issue, but whatever. And the client says, please use Cobra. Yeah, you just use the basic flags library. The reason we're using Cobra here is because we're playing with kubectl plugins, and they've already bought into Cobra and everything. And Cobra's improving over time, but there's no way they can get over the fundamental design flaws. And the only reason those design flaws made it in is because he rushed to market, just like everything else, to get market share, which is always the thing. So the reason I was hem-hawing over everything I was just saying there is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do internal.print as JSON, right? And this is going to, it's actually not going to find it. Sorry. So that's why I was doing all this. So if you have a bunch of stuff that you want to make, oh, damn it. What did I do? I broke something. I broke it. I broke my code, peoples. I broke my terminal because I'm so mad. It's probably because it's trying to find it. It's go is going crazy trying to find shit it can't find. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kill this window. All right, that window's dead. New window. CMD. Okay, let's move the PKG stuff back. PKG. We're gonna make a directory called internal. I'm gonna do internal. If you know that you just want to put some code someplace else and don't want it to be in the way, this is a really great way to do that. You can put sub packages if you want, but if you know that, if you're like vendoring code that you don't want other people to use, but you think it's cool, like I'm doing with this is a good thing to do, I think. I mean, you know, people might disagree, but so there's a bunch of code that, in Go it's much more common and accepted to vendor stuff by just copying a specific file into your stuff. It's like very common to do that actually, and it's not even bad. So because it reduces the dependency, and a lot of the projects, the more external project dependencies a project has, depending on the size, the worse it is. You can tell that a lot of projects are big and they'll pull in some 5-line sub package just because they want to get that particular thing, as opposed to vendoring it. And I'm guilty of that because if the people are just doing stuff quick and dirty, that's how they do it. But if you want a final version that doesn't have a bunch of deps, every time you have a bunch of deps, yeah. A man tried to exit Vim. That wasn't Vim though. That was Go. That was Go. Go took over my thing trying to resolve my packages. Vimgo did. That was. You can't blame that one on Vim. KubeConf, CMD, KubeConf, Go. Yeah. Oh no, we're doing. What are we doing? Internal Go. All right, paste that in there. So the reason that I like using internal is that I can cut and paste exported symbols that otherwise would be importable by remote code and still use them as is. So it's my favorite because then I don't have to uppercase and lowercase my symbols and stuff. I love using internal. So it's so good for that. I just like it. I like it. That's my favorite. CCMD. So then you can do kubectl. I mean, another thing you could put that you could put this command under internal if you wanted. I put this under command just because it's a nice name. Nice. It's kind of by the command, so that makes sense. And over here, it's internal print as JSON. Let's see if we can get that to. Nope. It's trying to resolve the symbols again. You know, it got it that time. Yay. You see that? How it grabbed internal? So that's what it's doing. This is actually can probably be built now. So let's actually change the kubectl. We're almost done with this project. Yep, like completely. Oh look. Oh looky here. I actually hard coded those in there, and I just added them to internal as well. So we'll just do this. And I don't. Now the difference is that I'm not executing. I have to execute. I have to defer execution to the Cobra thing, which is not nearly as elegant as Bonsai. Bonsai is one line. Package.run. It's done. And here you have to parse the flags, and then you have to. So fucking horrible. I fucking hate it. Parse the flag. Then you have to do a new command space. You have to pass up all the IO streams and then run it. So fucking ugly. So fucking ugly. I don't even care if you don't like to watch me complain. Go watch somebody else. Seriously. I'm speaking mostly to myself because I'm sick and tired of feeling guilty for getting so mean on the stream. I'm like, you don't like it? Go someplace else. I don't have to justify myself to you. I do. I sit at night, like, thinking to myself, oh my God, I was such an asshole on the stream all day today. And I beat myself up while I'm trying to go to bed because my conscience is, like, on fire because I'm such an asshole. And I'm not doing that anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth beating myself up on. People like eggs on there, eggs like people like command line equals flags. New flag set. I don't know. New command namespace. No, I don't want that. I want to have command. God damn, this is ugly. IO streams, okay. Root.execute. What are we going to do? Action. Maybe we could do root, I guess. Root. Execute error neural S6. Exit. Found question marks. Oh, wait. What do we need here? We need cube config. There we go. I actually think we're done. I think we're done. P command line equals flags. I don't even know why I have to have this. What is this for? New flag set returns a new empty flag set with a specified name. Error handling property set sort flags true. Do I need it? Why do I need that? Set the command line flags parsed from OSArgs. Oh. I'm not passing it to anything though. I'm not. I must need it. I mean, do I need it? You enjoy the canter? You come here for the rants. Are you sure? You demented fuck. That's supposed to be suitable for work. You know what, though? To be fair, it's not the first 7 minutes that I say fuck. It's like the last 7 hours. I don't know. You tell me. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is Cobra. A new flag set returns a new empty flag set with a specified name. Error handling property sort flag sets are true. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. You know what? Let's try without it. When in doubt, experiment. X. RWX. That's what the X is. Yeah. Explode things. Let's go explode things. If this works, I'm going to take everything I said back about it being verbose and stuff. Yeah. I'm going to take it all back. Why is this os.exit instead of... The thing I don't like about this is is it going to display the error or no? I don't know. I don't know. All right, I'm done. We're gonna blow it up. Go install. I'm gonna ruin my perfectly good program. Command kubectl blah blah blah. Why isn't it completing? Oh. You have to be on the top here. It doesn't work. I found this out the hard way. Go install. You have to do .cmd. You have to do all the way down or it won't do a proper install. Don't ask me why. 5 o'clock. Time for me to take a break and go have pizza. No, sushi. Got it wrong. I may take you streaming with me. Do you guys want to go? Do you guys want to go out to sushi? I could take the mystery guest. Let me go ask the mystery guest. Just a second. Hey, Miss. I think he might. I think they might actually come. We can have like some nice talk. I think I might do that. We're gonna go have. I mean I think it might be appropriate. Too many arguments and call it the cube config. Oh damn. It can be for Robin takes us out. I mean, I don't know how much sound I can always like bring. I have to bring my phone. My phone charged? I gotta charge my phone if I'm gonna do this. My phone's down. If we go, it's not gonna be till like 5:30. But it's gonna be in a bit. I gotta shower and stuff. Okay, so the interesting thing is it CLI IO streams. Why does this have to be passed? I don't understand that. Does anybody know? Why is that? Okay, wait. It has something to do with the initialization of the new namespaces. So we have to follow this PAL. Streams. So this takes the streams new namespace options streams. New command namespaces. Oh no. New command namespace options. So stupid. Wait, I should have just clicked on it. I'm so dumb. Namespace options. Here we go. Provides an instance of the namespace options with the default values. Oh, thank you for telling us that. Useless ass comment. Namespace options. Config flags. New config flags true. IO streams. Okay, so where does this come to play again? Namespace options, right? Namespace options, new command namespace options. I don't understand. Why validate error when are no arguments allowed? I don't get it. Where do those stream things come from? Why do we need the streams? I don't understand why the streams are needed. Who needs that? Does their piece of shit app need it, or does it need to get passed through? What the hell are IO streams? IO streams in think OS stud in. IO streams provide standard names for the IO streams. Yeah. This is useful when embedding and for unit testing. Inconsistent different names make it hard to read and review code. Wait a second. They encapsulated os.std-in, os.std-out, and os.std-error because it was hard to read code. Because they're inconsistent. That is hilarious. Oh my god. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing a reason. There's no reason for this shit though. Look at that fucking horrible name. Oh my god. Streams generic options. IO streams namespace options. Config flags generic option new flags namespace options. IO streams. Why the fuck is it sending around IO streams everywhere it goes? Here, we need to look for all the occurrences of namespace options. Wrapping namespace options. So what? Options is a thing that does validate. So this is one of those. This is why OOP is so bad. rather than passing it to the function that needed it, they stuck it in an object that gets thrown around all over the place and has tons of method calls on it. And one of them, someplace, somewhere, may end up using that field, but it's probably going completely unused. I'm guessing it's not even fucking used at all. You want me to prove it? I'm going to prove it. IO streams. It's passed, it's in there. It's not anywhere else in the fucking code. It's nowhere else in the fucking code. So why is it there? What is it? What reason does it exist? Someone help me out here. I think you don't need to because you don't call. Even if I call them, it's not even using them. So what I want to know is, why is it being passed at all? Is it got some sort of side effect by being assigned? Because it's in there? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't get it. Why is it... Runny doesn't have anything in it. Runny just calls out to those options. So o.validate, o.run, this is embed. It's a closure. It's a closure, and that has streams embedded in it because it was passed into new namespace options, which actually sets IO streams and then fucking forgets about it. And there's nothing that has any kind of Intuit knowledge into that. So I protest. Git grep IO streams. I might be wrong. Let's go look. No. Nobody fucking uses that identifier at all. Ever. And this is supposed to be a sample. Oh my God. It's just poor programming is what it is. It's poor fucking programming. That's what it is. Yep. All right, so this is getting much better. I hope this sticks. Let's actually try it. Is it going to install? It's thinking about it. Oh my God. Oh my God, it worked. Oh my God. Oh my stars and whatever. It totally worked. I'm sure there's like X uses the arg by default, runs through the command tree. Okay, so I'm actually not as upset as I was just now. There must be something with flags that I'm doing wrong though. I have a feeling it's not going to do the right thing with flags, but who gives a shit? That's the only thing I needed. So k-login JQ. It's exactly the same as the other one. I love it. And I'm using all the official thing now. So that's probably a good chance for me to stop. So I cannot tell you how much simpler that is than my other code. Do you realize that means that I don't need any of those others? Right binary? Hell yeah. Yeah. It overrode it. I mean, should we check? Just to be sure? I mean, I don't know. Go install vicmd kubectl config main made. How about that? Go install k-login. Oh wait, never mind. I was running the wrong thing, but it still works. Whew. I was sweating it for a second there. All right, if this says made at the top of it, then we know that we're made. Does it say made? I probably should have put it at the end. Oh, damn it. It didn't do it. What happened, my friends? Did I do something wrong? I'm very sad. Does it even get here is the real question. You know what I mean? How about this? Oh, that did an OS exit before he even got there. No wonder. Yes. That goes to standard error by default. Did you know that? Because I want to see if it installs properly. All right. Go install. Oh, you know what I did? I think I installed the wrong thing. Yeah, I think I did. Oh, it'll still run, yeah. If it had an error compiling, it would have showed me. Yes, sir. I don't think it's working, though. Yep. Yeah, you can't do a go run. It won't work, I don't think. Because it's a command. I don't think, anyway. Well, I guess it did. Well, why isn't it printing my thing, then? Oh, it's because if there's an error only. Ugh, I'm so stupid. I'm stupid. Well, I need to stop coding now. Can I stop? I need to stop coding. I need to stop. Where's my maid? There's my maid. Go install. Oh, fuck. That was the wrong install, too. I'm just kind of done. Okay, kubectl-login. Boom. It's working. It's working. It's working. Yeah. I'm going to go have sushi. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's commit this. Actually, let's go ahead and commit this whole thing. This means that I don't need this load anymore. I don't need it. I have mixed feelings about this. Oh, you want to try that? Yeah, let's try that. The sets and unsets, apparently, I mean, there's write functionality built in, so you know what I could do? I could get rid of it as a library, stop using the library completely. Yeah. I'm going to do that. That's going to make some people upset. This is a breaking change. This is like a really breaking change. Well, I'm going to actually do it. I want to make this command just a single plugin only. And have it be like really obvious what it is, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't even really need this other code. I really don't at all. Because it's like a library that I don't really use. Now, strictly speaking, actually, you know what we could do? Let me check something here. I could, if I want to make it reusable so I can remember how to do it, see this line right here? I could make this line into kubectl-login. You know what I mean? If you follow what I'm saying. I don't, no, I'm going to leave it. You know why? I'm going to leave it because, well, I actually think that loading it might be incorrect because it does not take into account stuff that's going to override it. You know what I mean? Let me give you an example. So if I do k kubeconfig, wait. What? Why isn't it? Oh, there we go. So let me show you what I mean. Go install CMD. So if I do kubectl-config, right? Now check it. If I do dash tab, oh, see that's still broken. That is still broken. Yeah. And I can put kubeconfig temp conf1. Oh, look at that. It says it's reporting it as being an unknown flag for kubeconfig, even though that's a valid flag here. This is the reason we're doing this in the first place. Yeah, damn. That is really bad. The whole reason we did this is we wanted to get, number one, we wanted to get tab completion, and number two, we wanted stuff like those flags to work. You know what? I understand the sample now more. Actually, that's what the sample was doing. Yep. That's what, oh my God. That's exactly what the sample was doing. Now I get it. The sample was saying, hey, we want to support a set of flags. P flag must be observed by Cobra. That's the only thing I can say. It's got to be. It does, because look, it's P flag. It's setting a package variable. It's got to be it. So I learned something today. I learned that you have to set the P flags. I'm going to prove it. Yeah, it's using a package variable, a package global to set the flags, which is not entirely bad for this kind of thing, but that is, I mean, look, it's setting a package variable. That means that it's using package variables to communicate between the binary and the package that's using it. I do that all the time in Bonsai too, so that's actually the only way to encapsulate that kind of stuff. So I suspect that that's what's going on. That's why. That's got to be the reason. That's got to be because we didn't. It's like we didn't have any flags before, right? So if I hit tab and I get flag options, nope. Kubeconfig temp conf1. Nothing. Fucking nothing. And I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't have time to look it up. Flags cannot be placed before plugin name. How do I pass through the other flags then? So what I want to, I mean, the whole point of using this thing is to be able to leverage the existing flags. So if I can't do that, then what the hell am I doing it for? Yeah. How are the flags being passed somehow? I'm not seeing. I need to stop now. I need to stop working, but I'm guessing no. No, they're not. What is going on? Does anything here use the P flags? Oh, here we go. What's this about? What's this here? Okay, so we have... Oh, look. I'm not even adding flags. Yeah. See, what I'm looking for is a way to get flags for everything. Oh, config flags. How do these get used? Okay. How are the config flags getting passed in? They're part of the namespace options. So this gets it, config flags. Loader gets the wrong config, okay. Oh, look at that. Commands flags get streams namespace. How did they get the CMD out of that? Because it was passed in. Command flags get string namespace. And the length of the args is 0. And a namespace argument. Okay, so that's because they're trying to do dash dash namespace and then whatever. So argument or flag was specified, then there's no need to generate. Okay. Get string context. These are the individual settings. What I don't understand is where those flags are coming from. You know what else? I think... Wait. Wait a second. Oh my god. It accepted completion. We also have to figure out how to get it to write the completion file for this. You know? So if we do... I think we have to update the completion file to have the new plugin. That might be the reason it's not completing. Kubeconf. And it still has this stupid ass shit that doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. Dash help. Yeah, that's a Cobra thing. I gotta look up. I don't know I don't know what's going on. It's not passing off the flags right, and I don't know how to set one. So apparently it doesn't use the default flags from the entire library, and it doesn't help with completion at all. So the whole point of using the library is kind of defeated. I mean, this stuff was all working before I had Cobra plugged into it. You know, I didn't need it. Now, getting the raw config output, that was useful. So it's worth it for that. But I don't honestly, I don't see how we're gonna get stuff. So I'm gonna have to do that in Cobra. We'll play around with that a little bit later. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. So we'll talk to you later, YouTube. I don't know if it'll be tonight. Maybe not. But yeah, we were able to successfully port over kubectl-login to use the new one. We'll finish this up and see if we can get our flags and our completion to work a little bit later. But for now, that's going to be the end of this test. So say goodbye to the YouTube people.